Okay, welcome back. This is Richard Golson, and we're looking at NetLab 13. This is configuring the vSAN data store, and we're now in task 2. So we've built our vSAN data store. We can see that here. We can see how much storage is available, how much is used, and we can see the hosts that have been added to that. What we want to take a look at next is we want to examine the VMware vSAN default storage policy that will be applied to all VMs when they are stored on our vSAN data store. And so it's pretty easy to get to. So at the top here, we'll click on Menu. And then from the menu, we'll select the Policies and Profiles. In the left pane, we want to select the VM storage policies. And in the right pane, you can see that there's the vSAN default storage policy right here. So we'll select that. And we can take a look at that storage policy and see how it's set up. So if you notice in the Rules tab, we can view the rule set for the storage policy, and we should notice that the vSAN default storage policy uses a RAID 1 mirroring. So we can see that right here. So failures to tolerate, one failure using RAID 1 mirroring. So what is RAID 1 mirroring? Well, it's pretty simple. What it allows what happens is when a virtual machine is stored in our data store, 2 copies are made. One copy is made on the one disk, and another copy is mirrored to a second disk. That way, in case of a host failure, we still have a copy. So that means that each VM is going to consume approximately twice the amount of space that it actually, twice the amount of space than you would normally see because of that RAID 1 mirroring. If we select the storage capacity or compatibility, we should notice the capacity in the free space. And so our capacity for this is 14.98, and our free space is 13.87. So it's consuming a good chunk of storage to build that data store. Let's go ahead and take a look at the storage itself. So we'll go ahead and select the storage node from the drop-down menu here. And we can see the vSAN data store here. And let's take a look at the monitor tab on that. Under monitor, let's select capacity. And let's examine this page here. So in the usable capacity analysis page, which we can see right here in the middle, we can estimate the effective free space that would be available on our vSAN data store if we deploy a virtual machine with a certain specified storage policy. The policy selected in this case is the vSAN default storage policy. Let's take a look at the effective free space using this policy. So here's that vSAN default storage policy. Notice that we can change that, and our effective free space with the policy is 6.94. So placing a VM on that data store would take up approximately enough space that would leave us with 6.94 gigabytes. And you can change this policy and you can test for different results. Notice it doesn't change with the thin provision because, in fact, the storage policy, we didn't look at that closely, but it thin provisions, and that saves some space. If we did a single node, you'll see that we actually consume far less space. Let's put it back on to the default. There we go. If you take a look down here, one more interesting area is the breakdown before dedupe and compression. You'll see that right now total usage is 1 gigabyte. So in case you're wondering where all that was going, you can see under performance management objects, is consuming about 65% of that. File system overhead and then the checksum overhead. So in the next task, what we're going to do is we'll migrate a virtual machine onto that data store, and we'll take a look at how much space it actually consumes. So we'll see you then.